This is a special podcast presentation from 700WLW.com. This is Doc Thompson On Demand.
Big one. Boy, it was a busy weekend for me. It's a pretty good time. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Did lots of shopping. I need a washer and dryer for the new house, so I hit a bunch of stores and managed to... What? Oh, hit a bunch of... Oh, you're right. I am so sorry. I will now offer a complete retraction and clarification about my previous comment. In no way did I mean to create a violent image, nor did I mean to suggest a violent act. To hit is wrong. Hit is violence, and violence is never the answer. I certainly didn't mean to imply a hit in the way a mob hits people, calculated or contract killing. So I apologize. Let me stress, do not react with violence with my mention of the word hit. Just calm down, please. Take a deep breath. Okay. Anyways, as I was saying about the washer and dryer, I was in a lot of different stores just looking for the, biggest bang for my buck because there's... So sorry. In no way did I mean to create a violent image, nor did I mean to suggest a violent act with bang for my buck. Violence is never the answer. I certainly didn't mean to imply a bang as a gunshot or to kill somebody, so I apologize. Let me stress, do not react with violence with my mention of the word bang. Please just calm down. Take a deep breath. Okay. Anyway, so I ended up finding one. I was a little confused by the size on a 3.2 cubic, 3.5. I went with the 3.5. I figured I'll just give it a shot that if I'm so sorry. I will now offer a complete retraction and clarification of my previous comments. In no way did I mean to create a violent image, nor did I mean to suggest a violent act when I said give it a shot. It is wrong to shoot people. Violence is never the answer. I certainly did not mean to imply that shooting was killing somebody. I apologize, and let me stress, do not react with violence with my mention of the word shot. Please just calm down and take a deep breath. Okay. I didn't realize. We really need to be careful with the way we speak. Creating these violent images, these words we use. Maybe Steve Driehaus was right. Well, he was on with Matt Patrick Saturday night here on the big one after the news broke about the shooting in Arizona of the Congresswoman, Gabby Gifford. And, he stressed the violent images we keep seeing in these violent terms. Maybe he's right. I mean, look, in just seconds, I used a whole bunch of violent terms. Maybe we should try to set some wrongs right here. Remind people that violence is never the answer. In fact, I would like to call on all people today to change their speak. No longer should you take a stab at it, kick the habit, shoot the breeze, or beat around the bush. Those are all violent. Stop them, please. I call on all bars to stop serving shots. It could be misunderstood. Do you want to be responsible if somebody misunderstands? If any restaurant serves the horrible British dish, bangers and mash, please stop immediately. Also, no longer serve beets, squash, holiday punch, and please, for the love of God, please ban the whipping of cream and other violent imagery. I also call on the Gap Band to please step forward and apologize for the violent images that you have portrayed all these years, and for all radio stations to delete that insensitive song from its playlist. Get rid of that. It's violent. Do you really want somebody to drop the bomb on somebody? Gap Band, please come out and apologize for your insensitive 1982 hit. I call on the Arizona television station that was covering the incident on Saturday to change your call letters, please. KGUN? K-Gun? What's wrong with you? How much more violent does it get? Please change your call letters to K-Love or something more appropriate. Please, if you're planning any trips, avoid Bang or Maine, Bangkok, Thailand, Bangladesh, all of these violent places. Do you really want to be responsible if somebody shoots somebody else, knowing that all of these violent terms that create violent images are out there? If we can all just calm down a little bit, take a deep breath, stop with all of the rhetoric. Please, it's all around us. Nancy Pelosi herself. Nancy Pelosi is responsible.
We have to deal with the consequences of the downturn in our economy. Food stamps, unemployment insurance, some of the initiatives you just mentioned. What the economists have told us from right to left. There is more bang for the buck, is the term they use, by investing in food stamps and in unemployment insurance than in any tax cuts.
Wow. Bang for your buck? Bang for your buck. Nancy Pelosi, I would think that you would step forward today and apologize for your past words and violent images. What if somebody heard bang for your buck and interpreted that as get a gun and go shoot somebody? Imagine. It's all around us. I think now maybe we should all take some classes or something. Certainly you should think about the way you speak today. It's all around us. Thankfully, people like Ed Schultz, Keith Olbermann, that dude Rachel Maddow, all of these people, and many, many Congresses, Jim Clyburn, Dick Durbin, all of these people have stepped forward over the last couple of days to express the same thing, that these images are out there and people need to stop. Steve Driehaus mentioned it, as I said. It's people saying we need to just calm down and think about what we say. Please, for the sake of your fellow man, whatever you do, don't express yourself above a whisper. Anything you say, in fact, you should probably not disagree with anybody at all. But if you have to disagree, please, speak in a whisper. Don't get upset at all, no matter how upsetting it is. It's very important that you do these things. Violent imagery. It's all around us. I certainly don't want to be responsible for it. And I hope you don't either. It's these things that led to the shooting of a representative over the weekend. The killing of a federal judge, a little girl. 6 people dead in total. 14 others wounded, including a congresswoman fighting for her life. All because of people like the Daz Band, people like Nancy Pelosi, using these insensitive terms that incite people to violence and rage. Just take a deep breath. Calm down. I'm going to take a little break, regroup, and we'll come back and talk about this. 700 WLW. Your storm tracker forecast for meteorologist Frank Marzullo and Fox 19. Increasing clouds this afternoon and evening. Afternoon high around 30. A winter storm watch in effect tonight through Tuesday evening. Expect 2 to 4 inches with a possible 5 inches in spots. Overnight low tonight around 21. Your high tomorrow 31. Currently 23 at the big one. Storm watch? Storm. If it's violent, but it certainly will scare people. And that White Death thing, that's got to go. Talk about your violent imagery. Denny checked in, doc at 700WLW.com, and mentioned Gun Barrel, Texas. Really, Texas? A Gun Barrel, Texas? You don't think people seeing that on a map is going to encourage that they cap an elected official? Certainly seems that way to me. And it certainly seems that way from all kinds of blogs over the weekend, all kinds of people on the left, politicians, pundits that are supposed to be unbiased, journalists that are supposed to be unbiased, all claiming that this Nimrod of a kid who shot all of these people in Arizona over the weekend shot them because of all of the rhetoric, all of the violent imagery, and we need to just calm down. How dare you express yourself in an angry fashion, even if you are angry? How dare you use some sort of word that could have double meaning? In fact, they came out of the woodwork. You've got the gun people, the anti-gun people that are out now saying, you know what? We've got to ban guns. They're using it for political opportunity. MoveOn.org is trying to gin up support so they can make some money. So what you've got is a lot of people out here using this tragedy for political reasons. To promote themselves, their party, the group they belong to, or to shut down opposition to anything they have going on. You want to talk about despicable? That's just as bad as the kid shooting somebody. 513-749-7800, the big one, or pound 700 on AT&T. George on a cell phone. You're on 700 WLW.
Good morning, Doc. I love the conversation. Gunbarrel, Texas, that reminds me of Rifle, Colorado.
Whoa, whoa, George, what are you doing here? Do you want people shooting up the streets of Cincinnati today?
Oh, I'm telling you. But see, you keep using that phrase, violent imagery. That just conjures up all kinds of disturbing things.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But we can't say disturbing. That's not correct. This guy has mental issues. So, you know.
That's a good point. George, I'm glad you called me on that. Here I am throwing it around like that. George, who is responsible for this? Who's responsible for this kid shooting these people?
He's responsible. That's it, period. In a nutshell.
There it is.
Pulled the trigger. It's not the gun's fault. It's not anybody's fault but his.
George, do you think it is acceptable for a constituent to express themselves, even in an angry fashion, with words to their elected servant?
Yes. You can express words anytime, day or night. We have that freedom of speech in this country, don't we?
I think so, George.
Well, you should.
What about the people that are, by their hate speech, by their angry discussion, are encouraging people to take action like shoot somebody?
You know what? If you have control of you, no one else does. That's what I always heard.
I agree. Thanks so much for the call, George. I appreciate it. See, the point is, even the left, the very people that came out all weekend long blasting all of the people on the right for saying, violent things. They blasted Sarah Palin for her website that showed this congresswoman's district in crosshairs. Didn't show the congresswoman. It showed her district just before the last election as one of those districts that are being targeted because she is susceptible or was susceptible to, according to Sarah Palin, to being kicked out of office and replaced with somebody more conservative. Instantly after this broke, I put on my Facebook page, watch, here it comes. And sure enough, the flood came in. There was a state rep from Arizona who claimed that it's all from the right. All of these people. But even those people on the left, while claiming this, are doing what? Stirring up the rhetoric. They're doing the same thing. All they're doing is ginning up support from people on their side. Couldn't you make the argument that if somebody who was absolutely in step with Dick Durbin, Nancy Pelosi, some other wacko leftist extremists in Congress, couldn't you make the argument that after those people said, aha, it's the fault of the right, and people like Sarah Palin for putting that crosshairs on the district, if they went out and shot somebody today that happens to be on the right, couldn't you then claim they're responsible for it? If you believe that other people are responsible for other people's actions, of course you could. Keith Olbermann, holier than thou, how dare you, with all the rhetoric, was doing exactly that yesterday by calling out people on the right. That's what his entire show is. Would you say Keith Olbermann's show is friendly? How about that Ed Schultz? Here are a couple of past clips from Ed Schultz. Listen to this.
My God, sooner or later you got to call these people out. President Obama couldn't have been any more transparent. He couldn't have been any more open. He brought these nitwit Republicans in for a televised shindig at the Blair House. Or did you miss that? God, go pick up your gun and march if it makes you feel better because you're too stupid to read.
Was he being nice? Was he being sensitive? No, the guy's doing exactly what he, yesterday, before Keith Olbermann was on the air, called out people on the right for. Here he is saying something, I think, based on his own claims of the right being, violent and creating violent imagery, at a speech doing the same thing. Here is Ed Schultz.
I want all of you to know that I'm not running for the United States Senate. But I also want you to know that if I did, I'd kick their ass.
Kick their ass? Saying that he was going to fight people? Beat them up? The fact is, it's despicable when either the right or the left uses this kind of stuff to simply gain support for their party, their organization, or to line their own pockets with dough. And that's what organizations, people, politicians have been doing since this thing happened on Saturday. People on the left and the right can be and have been violent throughout history. In the case of this kid, this 22-year-old kid who shot this lady and everybody else over the weekend, he wasn't on the right. He believed in a lot of the same things that Keith Olbermann and Ed Schultz believe. His favorite book is Mein Kampf. He believes a lot of these same things. Where were these same people? Dick Durbin, Nancy Pelosi, the president. Where were they with the riots of the 60s? Well, the fact is, some of them took part. The president is friends with Bill Ayers, who not only talked about violent imagery, was responsible for violence. The kid who shot the congresswoman and the other 19 people is responsible. He is solely responsible for his activities. Only him. And if you are claiming other, then you are misguided or part of some agenda. 513-749-7800, the big one. Back to the phones. Nan, you're on the big one.
Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
Terrible tragedy by a nutcase, just like Hinckley, who shot President Reagan. I don't remember the right blaming the left when President Reagan was shot. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. In fact, they usually don't.
No, and I remember President Obama saying that she was going to send some guy to tear up Hannity.
Yeah, he'll tear him up, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they use a lot of hateful, mean rhetoric, and poor Sarah Palin, they picked on her child, her Down syndrome child. How low is that? She should stay home and take care of him. I mean, if you really want to talk about mean, hateful rhetoric, the left really rises to the occasion.
It's hypocrisy.
This is a new nadir for them to blame anyone for a nutcase.
This is absolutely hypocrisy, and it is typical coming out of these people. They do and say the exact same things, but it's only hate speech, and this comes about when you talk about political correctness as well. It's only hate speech if you don't agree with them. Simply saying, let's all quiet down a little bit, not gin up the rhetoric. Let's be a little nicer to people and not use these terms and these images does not mean you're not doing it as well. They simply only say that to alleviate themselves and to point the finger for political gain. I'm going to share some quotes with you, and I want you to think about who they're from. I'm itching for a fight. It's pretty violent. Who said that? Who said basically you should, quote, punish your enemies? Punish your enemies? Who said that? It's time to fight for it. When speaking of their opposition, they say their victory would mean hand-to-hand combat. Hand-to-hand combat? Who said that one? How about this one? Who said this? We talked to these folks, so I know whose ass to kick. Who said that? All right, who said this quote? Hit back twice as hard. These are all very violent. I mean, this is ginning up violences, and it's telling people hit back twice as hard. Who said that? Who said, I don't want to quell anger. I think people are right to be angry. I'm angry. I mean, encouraging people to be angry, right? Who said, get in their faces? Who said Do you know who said each one of those? The same person said each one of those. The same person who said they bring a knife, we bring a gun. The head of the Democrat Party, President Barack Hussein Obama. He said all of those things. Was he inciting violence? Where's the left? Where's all the bloggers out there, the other congressmen saying we need to quell all of this hatred that is being ginned up, all of this hate speech, all of these images. We need to calm it all down, all of the rhetoric. We got to quiet it down. Did any of them come out and challenge any of those things said by the president? Hit back twice as hard? Punish your enemies? Where were they when he told them to get in their faces, saying that they bring a gun, they bring a knife, we bring a gun? It would mean hand-to-hand combat if the Republicans win. Hand-to-hand combat? Sarah Palin said, don't retreat, reload. And apparently, by many, she is responsible for what happened over the weekend. The president has that long list of things that I think some of them are even worse. If the Republicans win, it means hand-to-hand combat? Punish your enemies? Get in their faces? They bring a knife, we bring a gun? Hit back twice as hard? Funny, they didn't bring up any of those things, did they? And for you people out there who want to maintain this attitude that rhetoric is causing violence or has ever caused violence, you want to point the finger at anybody, me, Sarah Palin, anybody else? Well, I think we have conclusive evidence now that violence actually causes rhetoric. This nutcase shoots 20 people, killing 6, including a congresswoman, kills a federal judge, a 9-year-old girl, and when that happens, the blogs go crazy with people pointing the finger at everybody else, and many organizations and people trying to actually raise money and raise their political capital off the deaths of these people. So no, rhetoric doesn't cause violence. Violence causes rhetoric.